In this video, we're going to do a deep dive technical session on Monday service. Jack Stepner, who works for Monday.com with the Monday service team, is going to be joining me and do a deep dive session showing you all of the magic behind Monday service. So if you really want to understand how it works from the back end of the product, this video is for you.
Hi, my name is Tara, and I'm a certified Monday.com partner and the founder of Simple Day. My goal is to help you build powerful yet simple workflows with Monday.com. If you need help with a custom implementation, my contact details are in the description below. Let's jump into today's tutorial and make Monday the best part of your week.
So as I mentioned previously, users have three ways to submit tickets, one of which is through a form, another is through the portal, and another is through a connected email address. So I'm going to walk you through all three ways so we could set it up together on our end to best optimize our management. So if we click here on the top left, we could see the portal. And upon clicking on the portal, you have four different tabs in which to customize the portal. And the first one is the customization section. So you have the ability to name your portal. You have a dedicated URL that you can use within your emails or just send it out to internal team members. And you have different customizations regarding color and background images to bring some flavor and creativity to your portal. Along with that, you have the content section in which you could add groups to your portal, right, and delivering and sharing information specific to those groups. So for example, I have HR here, I have IT, I have marketing, I have a lot of different people that are connected to this portal, a lot of different domains, and I want different information being separated and basically organized within my portal. And you can see that reflected here within the portal itself. So if I'm the end user and I'm basically accessing the portal, I want to see everything at a glance. So I have different groups that allow me to do just that. So I have HR, I have customer support, IT, with information relating to knowledge base articles, to support forums, etc., relating to that specific group. And upon submitting a form that's connected to specific groups, so let's say customer support, when I submit that ticket, it'll go directly to that board that the form is living on. So if that form is living on my ticketing customer support board, right, that submission will go and create an item on that board in legal. And if I submit a request there, it'll go to the legal board that I have in another place within my workspace. The possibilities are endless. So if we go back to the app view, we'll go to the security section in which we could approve the portal to be open to external users. Here's an important tab, and something to note is that we're able to allow other email domains to register within our portal. So if I allow access to, let's say, monday.com domain, that will be reflected here, right? Or let's say I want to do nike.com, that will be reflected here, allowing other domains to easily access and create a user login for this domain. Again, so once I approve these domains, it's super important because I'm able to give the ability for these domains to create their own user login and have access to the portal. And again, security is top of mind here. So I'm basically allowing it from my end. And if they're not approved, meaning if they don't have the domain that I allow to access my portal, they won't be able to get in. Another way is through SSO login. So if I have SSO specific to my account, I'm able to enable that for the people who are part of my single sign-in provider. And lastly, I have the user management section related specifically to the portal. So here I'm able to add users, add and remove users. And I could even add it here. Let's say Jack ST at monday.com, right? So I add this user over here. And once I add this specific user to my portal, meaning giving access, the possibility of getting access to this portal, this user will see that reflected in their Gmail. So they complete the setup here. Once they complete the setup, they click that button. They'll be brought to this page in which they could basically write their full name, password, and then it will be brought to this page, which is a dedicated portal for just that user, for themselves, where they're able to see their submitted tickets and also access the information that we allow within the app view over here. And you see the users that have been added and all the different statuses regarding when they joined, whether they're active or pending, whether they accepted the invite, etc. and the way it was created by. So if you're using SSO, if it's by a manual invitation, if it's through skim, we're able to see that all reflected here. We're able to remove the user as well, or even delete the user, etc. So a lot of high level admin stuff here that we have visibility over, and that is regarding the portal. Also, I know that we mentioned before that portal is one of the 3 ways to submit requests within Monday service, but I didn't touch upon multi-portals, which is something that's super important and something that we saw over the past couple of months where users would write in basically asking, look, I have all this different information across one portal. I would love a space in which I could basically centralize everything HR related to one particular portal, or even everything marketing to one particular portal, or even if I'm opening a portal up to external users, make a domain specific portal for this account and for that account, etc. So we're able to do so with multi-portals. So if you go here to the plus function and click portal, right, you'll be able to add a portal over here. So you basically be brought to the same menu that you had before and the same customization tabs. And here I'm going to do monday.com. So I have the ability to customize my URL and change the portal name. And we're familiar with this page and these tabs, and you'd be adding content to your portal, and it basically acts as brand new. So if I go to the portal over here, you'll be brought to a brand new portal page according to what you want to construct. And this is something that I feel like you guys should know when you're thinking about building your Monday service management for scale. This is a good way to optimize your workflow and basically utilize the multi-portal experience to help streamline communication and access to your end users. Another way to set up our ticketing board for success is through the channels tab over here. So this is the place in which I add my channel. So whether it be a Monday inbox in which we give you a email address to use as a support email inbox, and you could add as many as you want. Over here I have 2. I could click this here, edit the display name and the email address, and once I save that, it will then log within my connected channels. I could also add my Gmail support email or even my personal one, Outlook. And something to take note of is that a lot of people have been requesting for shared inboxes regarding Outlook. We're looking to support this, and we're on this, and we're going to hopefully implement it soon. So keep on the lookout for that. And once I connect my inbox, essentially any email that's received to that inbox. So let's say if I connect my Gmail, any email that is received within my Gmail will create a ticket within your ticket board over here with all the relevant information coming in. I'll give you a sample test in just a moment. And I'm able to send and receive via that email. And that will be reflected within my email provider as well. So if I'm using Gmail, you'll see the entire history of that timeline of that interaction within my Gmail provider while also seeing it within Monday. The goal is seeing and accessing everything within one place, and that is monday.com. So that is the channels function over here. And lastly is the support form, right? So here I have a form that's connected to my board, and something to take note of, and this is something that also connects to both the portal and this form, is using this email column over here. Now, I'll show you what that means in just a moment. So if I want users to basically see the submitted tickets within their portal over here, and also have other features as well that are related to their email address, they would have to basically use this mandatory field, which is the email column here. So the core email column within Monday Service allows you to basically enable the submitter to see their tickets and also have other capabilities within the backend, meaning on the ticket board and service as well through this core email column. So make sure you're using that and make sure it's used in your form to basically have the best experience as possible. So it's basically setting up your form here. You could edit the form, you could add and remove specific columns. And by adding columns, you're also adding columns on your board. So it's very reflective of the way you're customizing in this page and on your board. And you could also share it, right? You could share it and embed it within your website, and a lot of flexibility there. So those would be the three functions in which we're submitting a ticket. So I'm going to give the example of sending an email to one of the connected channels. So over here, I go to my email, compose, and I want to submit a request that my Wi-Fi is down and I need help. Upon sending that, right, I'll see that reflected within my email provider. And then I'll also see that within my ticket board, right? So within my ticket board, I have different groups, right? I have unassigned, I've assigned, waiting for response, resolved, etc. And again, very customizable according to your needs. So I basically want to get a high level overview of the tickets and where they are within the ticket lifecycle process. And as you saw, once the ticket came in, right, it automatically assigned an agent, right? So that was using a couple features, and I'll show you in just a moment. But another thing that's nice about the ticket board is through API, we're basically pulling information from the received email. So the email comes in. Through API, we're pulling in the description of the email, we're pulling in the subject of the email and placing it here as the ticket name, the requester name, the username, and the email, etc. Again, we're using the core email column here, which is something that's super important. And within their board, we have many other columns as well, reflecting information based on the ticket that's being submitted. And I'll get into all these columns later on. But once the ticket is submitted, we have a couple things where we could automate this process, right? So firstly, we have AI auto reply. So this is something that I love personally, and it's the ability to, or just picture it as a first line of defense, right? So imagine in basketball, you're dribbling down the ball. You want that first defender to meet them at a certain point on the court. So that is the AI auto reply. So upon the ticket submission from the end user, they're basically being met with AI that's sending them suggested steps based on past resolved tickets and also on the certainty level. So for example, I have over here low, medium, and high. So I'm able to customize this on my end and have this flexibility. But if I want it to be low, that means that the certainty level is much lower. So if I'm sending a request based on my Wi-Fi being down, the AI will have less certainty into what the actual suggested steps should be in order for the end user to resolve it. Rather, it'll just send out a response generating a reply to the user so they could do some troubleshooting steps on their end. If I want the bar to be a little bit higher and more accurate, right, I'll go to medium, and then lastly, I'll go to high, which the certainty level is much higher. So if I'm sending a request about the VPN being broken, the AI auto reply is basically looking into all my resolved tickets that I have over here within the section. So I have 182. They're basically looking at all the related tickets revolving around the VPN being broken. And then it'll basically suggest a response to the end user to troubleshoot on their end. So as you can see, it even gives me a preview of what the response will look like. And it also shows me the sources in which it's pulling this information from. So you're able to see the accuracy from it and that there's some substance to the AI auto reply settings. And I'm going to set it as high. So when I receive this ticket, I'm confident and I'm less anxious and stressed about the first response time, about when we'll be getting back to the user. Through AI, we're able to be confident and reliant on this, and also the user being happy at the end of the day because they're getting the response that they need in order to resolve their tickets. So this is a ticket lifestyle, right? So the ticket comes in over here and we have AI auto reply to meet them firstly. Also, if the AI auto reply doesn't have an accurate response to give the user, you'll be able to configure your handoff message here in which the AI will give the user. So the user is assured that a team member will get back to them later on. So that is something to note about the AI auto reply. Another thing to look on is the automations that we have within Monday Service and specific to Monday Service. So this is either through the automation center here or even adding a workflow, a block, or a full-on workflow over here in the tab if you press plus and then access it through the workflow. And if we go to the automation center and go to create, we could search up email automation. So email automation is specific to Monday service, and that's reflective in the logo over here. And you have some automation recipes that will help tailor your workflow according to your needs. So let's say you want an automatic response based on an incoming email, you're able to do just that over here. If you want a automatic response to be sent when a status changes to, let's say, resolved, you could do that over here. So again, very customizable, easy to set up. Another way in which we could set up these email automations and automatic replies is through our workflow block. You'll go over here and add a workflow. So let's do Monday service workflow. And once we create it, we'll be prompted to the editing page in which we can configure it either through editing on our own or building it through AI, which is pretty cool, but we're not going to do it for this video. So over here, I want to basically create the workflow in which I want for this ticket that's being created. So for example, when an item is created, meaning when a email is received to the relevant inbox. So clicking into here, when it's received into the relevant inbox within my ticket board, I want actions to happen. So for this video, I'm going to cover specific actions relating to Monday service. So we have 3 of them within the workflow builder, and I want to cover 2 today. So for example, I want to send an auto reply to this user that's submitting the ticket. So here I can configure the auto reply like this. So for example, I choose a connected inbox that I have within that ticket board to send the automatic response. So here I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to choose to reply to the item ID in which, create the ticket. So I'm responding to the submitter, and I can configure the subject using fields from my board, and even using fields from the board for the message, right? So I'm just going to do this for the sake of this video, just write testing for the subject and write, "Hi, we will get to you soon. All the best, Jack." And here, like I mentioned, we could use fields from our board. So we're going to use the requester name. So I'm writing "Hi, requester." And then instead of just publishing the workflow here, I want to add an additional step to this to make this process much more seamless for our agents. And that is adding the round robin workflow block. So this is a pretty cool workflow block related to Monday service. As you can see, CRM also has their own dedicated one, but Monday service has the ability to basically triage tickets to the relevant agents that are available on the team. So for example, if I have 5 agents and I want ticket number 1 to go to the first agent, ticket number 2 to go to the second agent, that can be configured through this round robin assignment block over here. So when an item is created here, I'm going to choose the team in which I could add over here by going to teams. So I created a service specific team, and I could choose the people column, because this is based on the people column, to basically assign this person that's available on the team to this ticket. So this is the life cycle of the ticket, right? So a ticket is being created, the user is met with AI auto reply, and also this automatic email. So you could have one of the two, and also the round robin assignment. So everything is automated and in place. So once a ticket is created, we'll test one here. So for example, if I go to this one, copy it, send a ticket here, and go back to Monday after sending this email to the connected address, we'll see the workflow working and the user seeing this information reflected in his email provider and also the portal. So the ticket is created, all the relevant information is pulled through API to these columns. The workflow is working, the round robin is working, it's assigning those users. And once I click into this ticket, you'll see the auto reply in action. So it's handing it off to a team member. And also we get an auto reply from the workflow block. Now you could either have the AI auto reply configured here or turn it off, or send the auto reply via the workflow block. I just want to show the flexibility there. So that's according to your team's needs. And so this end user got both of these responses, both from AI and from workflow. And lastly, I want to show the AI that we have within the ticket board specific within Monday service. So the AI on the ticket boards are unlimited. So when it comes to all these columns that we have set up within Monday service, and specifically the ticket board, we want to utilize AI to our advantage. So I highlighted before the AI auto reply, and I also highlighted the workflows, and you can even add AI blocks to that as well, but also utilizing AI within our ticket board and specifically these columns. So when a ticket comes in, right, it's met by the AI auto reply and workflow, and then also information is being pulled into these columns that I have on my board automatically. So via the round robin assignment block within our workflow, a team member is assigned automatically. Then the description is pulled from the email directly into this column here, subject here, request or email, etc. And now comes the other columns that I have on my board in which I want to utilize AI for. So for example, the request type, I want to know whether it's a question, a request, right? And I want AI to determine that. I don't want to have agents manually inputting labels and placing labels within these columns because that takes too much time and it's a lot of dirty work in which I don't want them to be spending their time on. I want them to be working on the most complex cases that require the most amount of effort. And also this happens to be, with the priority column as well and other columns in my ticket board where I can configure AI and basically allow the AI to determine based on my prompts what the ticket should be labeled as. So for example, I choose the priority column to basically assign tickets based on the description column, so the content of the submitted request. So if I'm saying VPN is broken, I basically set the criteria to when critical should be applied here in the case when a ticket like the VPN is broken with a bunch of exclamation points should be set, right? So I have the same for each label here. And when it's not sure, then it applies it to medium. So again, AI is doing the work for me and allowing me to do and prioritize my time in an efficient way. So that's like the AI. There's more that we can do here. So the request category, etc. And there's more AI blocks that you can configure over here by going into more columns, searching up AI, or basically adding a text column or any other column that you have on your board and autofilling with AI, meaning you could extract, summarize text based on the board within the emails and activity section, the update section, etc., or set your custom prompt, like for example, like pull in information from the emails and activities section so I have the most updated replies when they come in. So that's something to keep in mind when configuring your board. A couple more things I want to mention. So thus far, we went through the 3 different ways that the end user could submit a ticket, and we went through how we could basically set those functions up. Secondly, we went through what happens when a ticket is created, and that's through the AI auto reply. That is through workflows, automations specific to Monday service. And you could also add and tailor them according to your needs and add additional triggers, additional conditions, etc. Lastly, I want to go through the columns that we've had, which I just touched upon a moment ago, but I want to get into the nuances of a couple of them. So a couple important columns relating to Monday service, and they're actually labeled as core columns, are both the status column over here, which looks like a plain old status column as we know it, and the email column over here. Again, a standard column that we have within Monday.com, but both of them happen to serve as like real connectors to the entire workflow of Monday service. So deep diving into these columns, you could add them over here within the core ticket, but they'll be automatically applied and added to your board when adding a ticket board. So the status 95 column, you could actually see it reflected here in the column ID. And you want to make sure when customizing this that you have the done, or in this case, resolve labels and self-resolve labels if you're adding more labels as done, because this will be connected to the requests that are submitted within the portal. So for example, if I go to the portal over here and I submit a ticket, so let's add a ticket over here, and we could do the support form here. And we could just do a quick request. Something to take note of is the status that's applied to this ticket. So as you can see over here, it's open as of now, right? And we have the ability to solve it from the ticket itself, or the agent could solve it, and that'll be reflected here in resolved tickets. So the reason why I am mentioning why we need to set up this column accordingly is because we rely on the done labels to be marked as checked off in order for that to be reflected within the status here. So if I mark this as solved, you'll see that reflected here within the ticket. So it's taking a couple of moments, but that will be reflected into one of these tickets here that I've submitted, and it will close off the ticket within the portal. So that is something to keep in mind when setting up your resolved labels. Secondly, when it comes to the status 95 column is map labels for ticket actions. So you could add labels in your status 95 column and then add them over here. So when a requester closes a ticket, the label should change within your Monday ticket board to that relevant label. So for example, when he resolves it in the portal, it is marked as resolved here and then moves to the resolved group. I could also change it to self-resolved. I could also change the requester when he reopens the ticket to reopen. As you can see within the portal itself, you have the ability to reopen tickets. So if I reopen this ticket here, the status will be changed to open, and that will be reflected back, as you can see the workflows are running, to reopen. So it's something important to know when configuring the status 95 column is the map labels for ticket actions. As you can see, you can't remove this column. This is indicating the importance of having the column in the first place. So that is the status 95 column. And when it comes to the core email column, as you can see, as like the status 95 column, you can't remove it. So this is based on what you're able to see within my tickets. So for example, when I submit a ticket over here and I include my email, right, as the email column is appearing within my support form, I'm able to see the ticket within my tickets. This is actually based on the email core column that we have within our ticket board. So if you're not using the core email column within your support form over here, the user won't see the ticket submitted within my tickets. So it's crucial that we have this set up over here where the core email column is appearing within the form. And also we do pre-filling values, right? So based on the account, we could pull the email automatically to the form itself to allow and enable the user to fill out the information that's most important for them and not to spend manual effort on these fields that should be predetermined, which they are over here within the settings. So if you click to the question settings, you'll have the ability to pre-fill that email question based on the account or URL parameter. And it's a required question because we need it in order to see the ticket within the portal. So that's something to note for the core email column. So I want to run through each column and basically demonstrate utilizing AI and also having in mind the core columns that you have available. So the last step that we're going to dive into is what the agent sees when they open up a ticket. So a request is submitted, the email creates an item, and it's met with AI auto reply, with workflows, with automations, and also all the different comms that we have set up within our ticket board. Additionally, when the agent comes in here to a ticket that has been submitted, there's a bunch of information that they could see regarding the ticket. Something to take note of from the start is that each ticket that's submitted is based on the thread itself. So it's not contact based, meaning if my email appears in one item and my same email appears in another item, those timelines would merge. That doesn't happen within Monday Service and specifically the ticket board. What happens is when I submit a ticket, only the information related to that ticket will be shown within this ticket. No similar conversations will be merged. It will just be one singular timeline to basically leave out all the noise in relation to this requester email. So I could focus on what needs to be done and what needs to be handled within the timeline without worrying about other threads that are being merged. So Once we come into the item page itself, we have different widgets that are displaying different information regarding the ticket. So I can add the widgets here. We have a plethora of widgets. We could also click more widgets and add more here. And this widget specifically showing me the important information that I want to know about this ticket. So it's the statuses, it's the priority columns, it's the email, it's the SLA, etc. On the right, we have another item description widget, which is showing me information based on the connected board that I have within this ticket board. So I connected this board to many other boards within my service product and other products as well. So it's showing me the flexibility and connectability that service has with other products, but I don't have any relevant information to show here, which is why we see it blink. Now, this is the core visual of the item page, and that is the email timeline. The email timeline, you're able to see the entire interaction between the submitter and the agent itself. And you even have the AI auto reply messages appearing within the timeline and any portal messages that the user is sending from the portal, as they could go over here, go to testing, and write testing this portal message. And they could also add files as well. And they go back here within the ticket overview, and the agent is able to see this portal message here. So upon this request coming in, the agent sees the AI suggestions. Now, this is connected to the AI auto reply in the sense where it's suggesting next steps for the agent to share with the requester based on previously resolved tickets. So it's showing you the confidence level of this suggestion. It's showing you the related tickets that we've had regarding this request, and it's giving me a preview of what the edit would be when the agent composes it. So for example, I edit in Composer and it gives me the entire email here right away for the agent to send to the requester. Additionally, I could reply over here as the agent, and it'll automatically, this link will appear for the submitter, so they'll be able to access it from their email, because anything that's submitted from the portal will be reflected within their email, and anything that's submitted from their email will be reflected in the portal. So if I submit a request to an email address connected to the ticket board, which we showcased previously, I will see that same request in my portal and under my tickets. And the same goes for submitting a request from the portal. So it's giving me this link over here in case I see this message in my email. I could use templates, right? So I feel like I get a lot of requests regarding VPN being broken or Wi-Fi being down, etc. So after a bunch of times, I want to basically write a template in order to share with the submitter, because I know those troubleshooting steps would work out for them, and I could do so over here. So let's just assume for this case that the VPN is not working. I'm sending them a response here based on a template that I've added previously. I could also write with AI. I could basically have HTML formatting and adjust the text as needed, and also respond from different connected channels that I have over here. I could also pull in different fields from my board and within the subject and the actual content of the email itself, add files, and there's a lot of customization going on within this Composer. Right, so I send the response here, and this response is appearing for the submitter over here within their ticket right away. And then I could also mark this as solved. And that will appear here in the resolve section. So that is it. And you can see the status change over there. That is it for the ticket board walkthrough and regarding Monday service. And if you guys have any questions later on, please feel free to reach out to Tara and myself. There's a lot going on here. A lot more is being added. I'm connected to the product team, the developers, and I'm hearing the conversations. A lot is happening, a lot of excitement regarding the Monday product, the Monday service product. And I'm excited for you guys to get a glance over here and basically configure this on your end. And I hope everyone has an amazing day, and please feel free to reach out.
Jack, thank you so much for joining us and doing this deep dive technical session all about Monday service. It really gave me a lot of insight into how everything works and the thought process behind the different columns and the functionality that was built in. If you're looking to see another use case about how Monday service was used for a busy marketing team, then I'll see you in the next video that's linked above.
Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and remember to subscribe to receive tips and tricks on how to use Monday.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.